Well, hello, Brando Mitchell. Welcome to the Red Panda Files, and thank you for being the first guest on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm happy to
How's
be
it
here.
going?
It's going good. As of when we're recording this, it was about 120,000 degrees outside today. I had to spend today just contemplating doing like homework assignments and just doing work from home and stuff like that. So, I mean, that was good.
Okay.
But I mean, like, I don't know, the days feel like they're getting longer. And then also, like, there's an amount of like, you don't know which day is which sometimes because like you do so much on singular days that like the rest of the week kind of just feels like Friday, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Okay. Well, yeah, I work in the sun, so it was 100 million degrees today,
Yes,
but we work at the aquarium, so it was also fun.
that's cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool, actually.
So I have some, I guess, questions, right? Your episode, I was thinking about like giving it a name, right? I wanted everybody's episodes to have a name and like kind of I wanted them to have their own identity, right?
Mm-hmm. Of
Each one very different.
course, yeah.
So yours is called The Pursuit of Happiness. Also because you made me love that song by Kid
Sure.
Cudi. I
Yeah.
had no idea like what that song was until you. Yeah, that is your episode title.
Yeah, that's my umbrella song.
Okay.
Yeah. For all the viewers at home, the umbrella song is like when you really aren't that good at playing guitar, but you have that one song you know how to play that'll get you through all stuff. Because like say if you like you just play a bunch of stuff that no one knows, like that's the thing like when you're about to get like rained on with whatever emotion you're about to get, you have your umbrella and that's the song that covers you when like you're about to get hit with a bunch of shit. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's I'm saying like that I like that song. I had a connection to that song a long time ago, but like it's funny that's the song I know how to play from front to back easily, you know what I mean?
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your life growing up as a gypsy boy.
Yes. Wow. Let's recap the last 29 years of my existence. I guess it all started when I was born.
Yeah, it all
No,
started when you was born.
I could also do a time skip arc, but no, that's no. I think where I'm going to start is just where actually I was born. I was born in New Jersey. You know, the funny thing about New Jersey, I heard Kevin Smith say once, which is funny. I got the umbrella thing from going to see Kevin Smith live because Kevin Smith was talking about like how he did all these like terrible movies, but like his umbrella movie was just like I did Chasing Amy. So, and that saying, we went, me and my friend Eduardo, we went to go see Kevin Smith live. He was doing like a tour of like showing the movie Clerks 3, and he said something during that whole thing. And he said something along the lines of like, if you're from New Jersey, you're in the shadow of New York, so you have to try harder than other people who are from New York. So I think that's what
Okay.
the whole theory of my life is, if that makes any sense. I think the theoretical stance of like how I went about life is like I was always in the shadow of something, so I had to go a little bit harder in the paint than everybody else. Or there was always adversity in some case, and I had to go a little bit harder than myself. So like being born in New Jersey, I was born there in '97, lived there till I was about 11 years old, and I had a pretty moderate life, you know, a traditional Romano familia. I will say that my mom was a fortune teller. My dad bought, sold, and traded cars. Sometimes he mostly just assisted my mom. My mom was the one. She took care of all five of us. I had four other siblings. I had two older brothers, an older sister, a baby sister, and I was the youngest boy. I visited Salem, Massachusetts a bunch growing up because my mom's family was from here. And as time went on, I kind of just got a really big liking to Salem, just coming here during Halloween time, coming here just to see my family. And I just love my mom's side of the family. You know what I mean? It was just good to be there because my dad's side of the family, I just had a really weird disconnection with. I don't know why. I mean, they still loved me and they still showed me affection, but I just wasn't as connected to them as I should have been, if that makes any sense. And yeah, I didn't have a lot of friends in Jersey. I had family that were pretty decent, but I will say that my first outside connection to people outside the culture was I played Xbox a lot. I played Xbox 360 and I met a lot of friends online. I played Halo 3 consistently. So Clone Jerome, wherever you're at, the Bat Rat. Who else? The Bat Rat, Clone Jerome. I don't know. There's so many other people. Sugar Bear was Sugar Bear. There was also Gunther or Unther as he called himself. And there's so many other people that I met on Xbox that just became my friends. Ozario was one of them, and so on and so forth. I don't talk to them anymore, which is sad. Like those are all
It's
people I met from back
nostalgic
in the
though
day.
to think about it though.
It is, yeah, and like those that was actually I think anybody could agree with this that when you're growing up Romano, you might experience the fact that you become like the best English speaker in your family. I owe a great deal of that to Xbox 360 and Halo 3 because I became a better English speaker because of that. And
Yeah.
I'd also say stand-up comedy and pro wrestling and stuff like that, right? So I will say that in 2008, my mom, she was, like I said, she was the maverick of her family. She was the patriarchy and the matriarch in some cases. And basically what would happen is she has her crutches. And because of her addiction and so on and so forth, it eventually caught up to her and the stress of dealing with a family and the stress of dealing with like a bit and just what I want to talk about. I could talk about this a little bit later, but like traditions and generational abuse and trauma, I had eventually caught up to her, and because of that, she suffered 2 strokes and a heart failure back in '08.
Jesus.
So she was basically at the time, medical terminology wasn't updated yet, but basically at the time she was what the medical professionals would call a vegetable. Now it's called being in a vegetated stage, but she was essentially in a vegetated stage due to the sickness that she experienced during the attacks. It was on the left side of her body, and basically that made her paralyzed from the head down. And she was in Overlook Hospital, New Jersey. Which, fun fact, I was actually born in that hospital.
Oh, wow.
And ironically, she was there. The medical professionals there, this isn't a gripe. I'm not gonna tell a doctor how they could not have done their job because I'm not a medical professional. I was a CNA at max, and that was it. But they gave up, and they said the best thing I could do was just take her home and let her slowly deteriorate, or we could pull the plug right now and we could just make peace with her leaving. And they decided to do this with all my whole entire family in the room, except with the kids not being there. I was one of the kids, but they basically my grandfather, for lack of a better term, almost killed the man. I wanted to curse just now, but I'm holding back. My grandfather was violent, and a lot of my other family members were freaking the hell out, so they didn't know what to do. Uh, Cut a long story short, my grandfather went to one of my family members and said, "Do me a favor, look up these hospitals in Massachusetts and see if they're any good for people in neurology or cardiology." At the time, Massachusetts Mass General Hospital actually was #1 for cardiology and neurology in the United States. It's changed since then, actually. Now it's John Hopkins over in Maryland,
Okay.
but I think it is now because I'm going back about a few years ago when I double checked. But at the time, Mass General Brigham was actually #1 for cardiology and neurology, which was my mom's diagnosis at the time. And I remember the day I found out she was going to be transported from New Jersey via ambulance to Mass General. Sorry, I just got a hair in my mouth.
It's like pause and
The,
then come back if you want.
no, that's fine. So when she was being transported, I remember the first thing, like the knee-jerk response was like, okay, so okay, so who am I going to ride with? And I don't think anybody was expecting that full transparency, because no one else was like really jumping at the fact that like, okay, hey, our mom's leaving, so we should probably follow her. So I took that up. Something I would like to mention actually prior is that while my mom was still in the hospital and my mom's family was coming up and down from Massachusetts, some family members agreed to actually take me to Massachusetts just alone for my first solo trip outside of my family to a different state, and that was kind of like my first taste of being on my own with family. So shout out to my cousin John for me staying at his house with his family while I was doing that. That was actually a really pivotal time in my life, to be honest. We traveled to Massachusetts a few months later. I remember the day we were leaving when I was getting transported. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I packed all my important stuff and I had a pretty expensive suitcase. And I remember sitting next to it in the front room. My dad was watching the news and he was just like, just tell me now if you don't want to go. I'll just say that you don't. I'll just say that you were too tired and you didn't want to make it, and you could stay here and we could just leave it at that. And I said, no, I'm going. I'm already up. We might as well go. So we left. I think I was about 11 years old. I went in my grandfather's car with my grandmother, with my cousin, and we went from Mass General at like 6 a.m. Oh, no, sorry, we went from Overlook Hospital at 6 a.m. to Mass General Brigham, and we got to Mass General Brigham by like 9. Went to my cousin's, and then I went straight to my cousin's house and just stayed there while they were getting everything situated. And fun fact, this is to kind of like cut the tension with a knife. I also got shot with a BB gun that day in the face because I shot myself in the face by accident. I hit my cheek
You
right
shot
here.
yourself in the face?
No, I shot myself in the face because I was playing around with it, and my cousin was like pretending to shoot me, and I was like, "No, don't actually shoot." I was like, "No, no, 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 no," and he didn't know I filled it up with BBs because I wanted to fuck around with it, and I kind of just like said, "All right, fuck it," and I just shot myself in the cheek, and I still have an indent like right over here from the
Oh my
BB
God.
because it bounced right off. It was a plastic BB, so thank God. Anyways, yeah, we went there. We went there, and that's where the story begins. That expensive suitcase I was talking about, it magically got lost in it being in the back of my family's car, and I wore the same jeans and t-shirt and sweater and socks and susja for the viewers at home, underwear for about 3 months. It did not smell good.
Jesus.
Did not smell good. The underwear got washed a lot. I just want to get that cleared out.
Good job on that.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
God, because
dude, good job on
there's
that. Because most dudes wouldn't have, took that,
yeah,
cleaned
no,
them.
listen, there's only one thing you could do well, okay, there's a few things you could do. For context, inside out, backward,
Ew.
forward, inside out again. It works, but there's only so
No,
much you can do that.
it's only no,
I'm
no.
joking, I'm joking, I'm joking. I'm quoting George Lopez. Yeah. No, it's forward, backward, inside out, forward, backward again.
Sorry, Courtney. I feel a job for you.
Why feel like job? She's the
I
one who
don't
washes
know.
it. No, I mean she has to wash it.
Mila, she's
Oh,
got to wash that.
please, if I fold clothes, she'll have an aneurysm. Anyways, no. So I was living there. I was living there. I never I pretty much stayed in Massachusetts most of my life. I revisited Jersey when I was like 13. I stayed for a birthday. I was there actually when I was going through DCF troubles. I was actually out there for a little bit, and then I came back. And when I came back, I only visited Jersey maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. Solo on my own demerits to go see my family and friends and stuff like that. But yeah, I was mostly on my own from about 11 to 12. I was home alone a lot. This is when I started, I guess, becoming who I was. I got into anime, I got into comics, I got into a bunch of the stuff that I follow now, like art and music and so on and so forth. And because I was alone a lot, I was left to my own devices, so I got into some weird habits too. And there was a lot of other miscellaneous backstories to the characteristics of where I'm at now. But I will say that when I was 13, my mom came home after being in the hospital for almost a year and a half. She went from Mass General Brigham to Brigham she went to Mass General Brigham to Spalding Rehabilitation, which Spalding Rehabilitation is actually where my mom was like getting physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. So when she was there, she got out and she came straight to my grandparents' house and she was living with us. Sadly, I'm telling the story, and I think if you're getting context clues, this is the time my mom and dad decided to like leave each other, except my mom had no choice in it.
Yeah.
My mom just figured, and my dad, I think, just saw the opportunity and took it. And I talked about my mom's addiction. I talked about my mom's afflictions, if you will, and she was definitely an addict. She also had I am assuming, I'm not a psychiatrist, but because of my own diagnoses and my own sociological perspective, I like to believe that maybe she also had bipolar disorder, and she was a lot to deal with. And my father left. She came out of the hospital. I became my mom's health.
Well, your
I
dad
be,
left while your
yeah,
mom was in the hospital?
yes, she was. Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Oh, that's
Well, he was
crazy.
there. He was there while he was in New Jersey. While she was in New Jersey,
I'm
but I think he
sorry,
took the
dude.
opportunity. I think he
Yeah.
took the opportunity to fully leave her when she was transported.
Yeah.
So for whatever it's worth, take this as you will, actually. But I was my mom's health. I'm getting the words mixed up. I was her caregiver for a very long time, and from 13 all the way to like 21, with a few occasional breaks here and there and a few occasional help from the family. But I was the primary source of her care. So feeding, bathing, clothing, just day-to-day stuff,
Mm.
cleaning, and so on and so forth. And that was something I did for a while. I think that it goes without saying that I mentioned my father, but my father did try getting back with my mom at one point, and then he left again.
Wow.
Uh, he left again, so I had to deal with the fact that my father left twice, and I got a lot of resentment toward my family, not just my maternal family, but my outside, like my other mom's side of the
Yeah,
family, my
everybody
dad's side of
around
the
you.
family, and so on and so forth. And I will say I worked in my family's business. I was not only taking care of my mom, but I was helping at the house too. So because I was living on my own, I was learning to cook and clean and make decent cash, just doing things around the neighborhood. So like
Mhm.
I was helping people do their lawns. I was helping people clean and do like all the stuff to their houses and stuff like that. And I made decent cash for a teenager. I would like to also mention that my family didn't like that at one point because I was making too much money, so I had to stop doing that.
Well,
It's another
also, it's really
story.
nice to think that I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off,
No,
but
go,
I
no,
just
please
want to
go.
like, it's really neat that you were a gypsy kid and you were doing all of these things too. Because most gypsy kids, like, you don't really have that much freedom that young, right? Like your family are always around. So
Yeah,
you were doing all of these things and you really, you know,
living.
you did everything on your own.
Yeah, no, I think for what it's worth, there's definitely a lot of I'd hate to I guess we're gonna pry this one open. If you're a male, if you're a man, a dude in the woman, it's not expected for you to learn to cook and clean.
No.
You're not expected to be good at it either. I will say I got really good at it to the point where I was better than most of the women in my family. Not throwing them under the bus, but it was kind of nice in theory when it was
Mm,
just like, no, you're not good at it, let Brandon do it. Unless that was
yeah,
just them like
that's
looking out for
awesome.
them. Unless that was just them looking out for them, but also
Mm,
like, okay, like no, Brandon's better at it, let him do it. So it's like, all right, word, I'll do it.
yeah.
So I mean, yeah, but I mean, I had the freedom to go and like make money on my own, but the truth is like it was very short-lived because there was that thought of like he's getting really good at it and he might get too good at it, so we have to let him
Yeah.
stop. Because I was a kid, I was like 15 or like 16, and I was coming home with like nearly like $300 a week, which was kind of crazy. So yeah, that was short-lived, but it also got me to my first taste of handyman services, which is what I
Mm.
still do to this day. And yeah, I you could ask more. Obviously as I'm like explaining the story and it's unraveling, you can ask more questions. But to get to like the meat of how I'm here today, back in 2019, I was dating a girl, and it was a girl outside of my culture. This was after years of me dating girls in my culture, and I either kept messing it up, or the girls I was with just weren't it wasn't the right time or place for me to be in
Mm.
their lives, or I wasn't in the right time or place to be in their
Wasn't
lives,
the right
and that
fit.
was it wasn't the right fit for
Mm.
any of us. In some cases, it was for the time being that I was with, and there's still a lot of admiration that I have for a lot of the girls I was with, and sadly, because of the cultural differences, I can't talk to those girls as much as I want to, and I don't think I want to either. I don't think I want to deep down inside, but the truth is, like, it is what it is, and a lot of those girls are happy and with people that are absolutely incredible, and I'm proud of them. But I finally decided I'm gonna go outside my culture, and I met a girl, and my family wasn't happy with it, but they dealt with it because luckily I had two particular family members. For the sake of ambiguity, I'm going to say I had two particular family members who were elder that actually dated people outside the culture, and for better or for worse, they did it, so I
Okay.
said I could do it. So they did it, so I said I could do it.
Mm.
So I said I could do it, you know what I mean? And I did it, and they still didn't like it for some odd reason, because I guess it was me.
Huh.
But
Was it
I,
so wait, that's see, that's weird for me. So is it like okay for you to eventually marry outside of the culture, or was it just like it was okay for them to date outside the culture?
I had one family member. I had one family member. I'm not again for the sake of ambiguity. He actually married somebody outside the culture
Oh,
that was actually outside the culture,
okay.
and it was kind of hard at first for him because I can go into this later actually, but he had to make a choice whether or not if he wanted to be fully outside the culture or if he wanted to be in his culture, and he was basically given an ultimatum to either be a part of the culture with
Mm.
with his wife that was outside of the culture, or go fully into that side of her life, and he turned his wife into a woman.
Okay.
So that all credit to him in the world. He did an amazing job, and she was incredible for the time being. And he eventually got divorced to her, and he eventually got back together with a woman of our culture, and that was really cool. And
Okay.
you know, for what it's worth, my other family member, she was with somebody outside the culture, and that person became an uncle to me, and I was
Mm.
very close with him, and he still has a huge influence in my life and the way I operate now as a man and as a person in general. But you know, for some odd reason, they just didn't like what I was doing. It took a little while, to warm up to her. But she didn't come to the house. No one really met her. Stuck her in my house once. That was cool. Uh, but we were together for
With
a
your,
while.
so you took the girl in the house with your family?
We had
Oh, okay, okay.
a huge
I thought you guys
house.
were like you had a party and she was like she came over
No,
and she was there. Okay, okay, okay.
no. Full
Okay.
transparency. We had a huge house. It was October in Salem, and the house she was living in was too rowdy during October. So she just like, "I come over to your house?" And I said, "You can come over to my house, but no one's gonna know you're here." And she's like, "That's totally fine." And it was great.
Okay.
I enjoyed the hell out of that. I'm not being weird. I'm just saying it was nice. It was nice. I could say I brought a girl home that not in the
Not in a
creepy
weird
way,
way. Yeah, not
way,
in,
but it was
not in a
just like,
creepy
wow, I have
way.
a girlfriend
Not
in my
yeah.
house. Like, this is nice. This is what
Yeah.
everybody was talking about, and it was
Hmm.
cool, but it was fine. But you know, me and her, we were together for a while, and in 2019, actually, because we started dating in 2018, but in 2019, me and this girl were together, and my family and I had a few differences, and it's been almost 10 years since I got kicked out. But I got kicked out. There was legal trouble. There was trouble with the law. I basically got a restraining order put on me by my family. I think this is probably the part of the story where I say around like 18 was when I started abusing substances. And I also had found out when I was like 16 that I had bipolar disorder. I didn't treat it till I was 17, and I was on and off with the treatment for until I was about maybe 22 or 23, or maybe even longer than that. I didn't start taking all of it seriously till I was about that age, but I was diagnosed. I knew I was diagnosed, and there was medication, but there was a question if I was taking it or not, and so on and so forth. And I was also self-medicating with substances and stuff like that. So I think part of the reason why I was kicked out, we could talk about like the actual things that I did, like destruction of property, domestic violence,
If
and
you
so on.
want to, because like
Well, I mean,
I have here like talking about like I have it here losing home, but I didn't know how in depth you wanted to go.
I'll give you some, and you can ask questions as we go
Mhm.
along. But I mean, I would say that like it was a matter of like you can look at the paper and like the documents if you really want to, and like you can make the argument about domestic violence, destruction of property, and just insanity. But the police were constantly getting called to my house for me defending myself or defending my mom or just acknowledging the craziness or raging out. But there was a lot of undiagnosed trauma that I was not dealing with. There was a lot of
Yeah.
also other addiction in my family.
So it's a
There
lot
was a
of
lot of
more it was
differences.
lashing out.
It was lashing out
It
for
was a lot of
emotions,
lashing
yeah,
out.
and it was also a matter of me having that savior complex that I did back then and wanting to actually make a difference in my family. And the reality was they were not ready to make a
Well,
difference. And that's
could
hard.
you explain a little bit? Because growing up as a boy in the gypsy community, you kind of grow up as like essentially a little god or a little like king.
Yeah.
So you grow up with this like god mentality by the time you're like 5 or 6. So can you like talk about that a little?
Yes, you're expected to be patriarchy. You're not given, you're expected. It's hard to deal with that. It's a lot of pressure. If you play a role where you're not only the matriarchy, but you're the patriarchy or reverse, if you're expected to be good at everything you do. And there's a lot of moving parts to that. I would like to admit that, like, I think my family did have high expectations for me, but there was also a part of it being that, like, he's not doing it the way we were expecting it,
Yeah.
or he's not at that level that we want him to be. So you're not matching up that role of like I am the king of this ship, this town, whatever. It's hard when you don't meet those expectations and your family don't like that. It's the truth. Like you gotta be a certain way, you gotta act a certain way. When my grandfather got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2015, when my mom found out, the first thing she says was, "You need to be smart." And I
That's so
did
much
a lot.
pressure. So
I
much pressure to put on it.
but also it's funny you say the pressure thing. The pressure thing didn't actually bother me. It was more or less just like, have I not proven I'm smart enough?
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. Like, you
Mm.
haven't proved, like, I don't understand the proof of concept when it's just like, okay, you need to be X, Y, and Z. Haven't I proven that I am X, Y, and Z, if not like X, Y, and divided by three? Just saying. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. But I mean, again, like, you're right. Like, there was an expectancy. I think part of that was what I was going through. Like, I think that's why I was lashing out, because it was just like I was doing everything I needed to do, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I could
And
understand it because there's so much pressure. There's so
it
much
is.
pressure on you, and like how can you not? It's almost like how can you not lash out when you're expected to be kind of perfect, right?
Yes. Yes. And
You're
that's,
supposed to walk this like little thin line, and if you deviate slightly, it's like, well, the world is ending. The sky's falling.
yes, yes. And I mean, also on the flip side, like, let's say you do follow to a T everything everybody wanted you to be. You're kind of left you're kind of left at the end of the crossroad that you took, and you didn't realize there's a dead end. And the dead end is like literally just you dealing with the fact that you did everything you were told, and you don't know who the hell you are anymore.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
like you kind of have to make, when you hit that crossroad, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, do I take the road of what everybody wants me to be and be exactly what they want me to be, but like
Mhm.
lose consciousness of who I am? Or do I take the road that chooses me and, like, regardless of whatever they say, pick myself, but at the end of it all,
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose my connection to the people that I care about, like my family, my safe place, whatever. It's hard to like make that choice. But I don't know. I mean,
But you
yeah,
chose you though. You chose you,
that's
which
true.
I'm incredibly happy for because you are doing amazing things and you are finding yourself because I remember like when we first met, you were this little like scene kid that I used to make fun
Yes,
of all the time on Twitter
yes, yes. You make fun
because
of me
you
a
were a
lot.
scene kid. Sorry, scene kid
Yes.
community, but
Yeah. I'm
yeah.
sorry too, St. Kid community. I'm sorry I was your ambassador for a while. Sorry I was your ambassador for a while there. I did a terrible job.
You was like the gypsy scene kid like mask.
Yes, I was. Yes, I
Yeah.
was the Romani Singh kid. And I gotta
Hmm.
tell you the truth, I didn't even listen to Blood on the Dance Floor. I know,
Well,
poor
wait, we
dad.
can't. I think something. I think they did something bad.
Oh no, they've been doing things that are bad. We
Oh,
can't
did
mention them
they?
anymore. Yeah, no, because you want to know why I didn't listen to them? Because I knew they were terrible people.
Really?
I knew it.
Really? I've seen them
Yes.
in concert. I've seen them in concert, and I was
Oh
like,
my God,
after,
really?
yeah,
Oh, cool. I'm
I
not
seen
gonna
them in
lie.
concert with Silverstein. Actually,
Wait, really?
yeah, I loved Silverstein. I was
That's not bad.
obsessed with them. A side note, my father met them
Yeah.
at the bar and told them that I brought my daughter to watch some shit band play. He's talking to the members of Silverstein, and they told the story on stage, and I was like, oh,
Oh
that's,
my God.
that's my dad.
I brought my wait, his words were, I brought my daughter to see some crap band.
Yeah.
My God.
And he talked like it was the guys of Silverstein.
You what? All right, so I talked about my mom, how my mom was who she was. Let me tell you a great story about my mom. We lived in New Jersey. My mom and dad constantly went to New York to go to shows, to go to events, and my mom and
Okay.
dad, they would constantly go meet other, like, Romani like other Wom and
Mhm.
stuff like that, right? And my mom goes to this bar in New York, and she's sitting with my father, and they're having drinks, sort of like that. And my mom looks over across the room, and she goes, "Larry," that's my dad. "Look, I know who they are." And my dad's like, "Who are they?" She's like, "It's that band. They make the song 'This Love Has Taken Its Toll.'" But wait, no, don't say it yet. I want you to understand what's gonna happen next, kid. So my dad's just like, "All right, Ja, how do you get there? Go give him a handbill," because they're warm. So
She's gonna tell
my
fortune to Mer.
mom walks over. Now you don't understand. I'm gonna do, because I look. You can use context. You can use context clues. This. I'm gonna say a story real quick before we run out of time. I look like my mom, so just believe that this is my mom's
We
face,
could
right?
hold on because we could redo it.
Yeah, no, we can. I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
this. This
Okay.
will be a quick one, right? So my mom, straight face, she looks him dead in the eye. She walks up to Adam Levine. "I know who you are." Adam's like, "Really? Who am I?" My mom goes, I know it, I know that, I know your songs. I bought your CD. My kids love your bands. I know exactly who you are. My now Adam's like, okay, well, can you at least say the name of my band? And my mom's
Mhm.
like, I know exactly who you guys are. You're Matchbox Five.
Oh my.
Now here's the thing, you guys, you know the guitar. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but you know the guitar player with the long hair, his main guitar player and stuff like that, or the bass player. I can't remember, right?
Oh, in Maroon 5?
In Maroon Five, yeah, because it was obviously Maroon Five. It was not
Oh, the one
Matchbox
with the
Five.
blonde. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
blonde,
the
long hair.
blonde.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking
He
about.
apparently put his hands in his face and he just went like this and he walked away. He
Oh
was like,
my.
no, no, no. Adam Levine's sitting there and like a champ. He's just like, really, really, that's awesome. I'm so surprised you actually know who I am. What songs have we made? And she's like, you made this, love. You did like She Will Be Loved. And the guy's just like,
Oh,
wow,
Merhaba,
wow, you.
she knew who she was
Yeah,
talking
she actually
about.
knew who he was.
Yeah,
She got the
she knew
names
who
mixed
he
up,
was. Yeah.
but she got the names mixed up. So
Mila.
now he takes a sip of his drink. He's like, ma'am, I'm sorry to do this to you, but my band's actually called Maroon 5, not Matchbox 5, but I understand the difference. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Well, here, how about this? You'll get a free psychic reading. Here's what I missed. He never showed up. Full transparency, he never showed up. They weren't from New York. They were just doing like a concert or something. They were doing something in the show.
Okay.
But I think about the show so much because I think about that story so much because like that was my mom. My mom, no matter what context she had, no matter what she was doing with her life, no matter what, her heart was in the right place.
Yeah.
Always. Even if she didn't get all the context clues before she did it. So when she said Matchbox 5, I almost passed out.
Matchbox
Yeah,
5.
Matchbox 5. The best part, if you ask my mom, well, I mean, my mom, she wouldn't, if you ask her who Matchbox 5 is and what song she made, she has no idea. So the fact that she remembered Matchbox 5, Room 5, and said Matchbox is even crazier.
She knew what she was talking about.
She knew, yeah, she knew. Absolutely, without a shadow of
Yeah.
a doubt.
My chibdi used to say, "Go Intermac." To diantud, go Intermac. And I used to go, chibdi, what's the Intermac? You know? O masunka. Okay. Okay.
What about my papo? No, what about my papo? Brandon, topo spoofy.
What?
So school spoofy. So school spoofy. So school spoofy. You know the green with the three lines, spoofy. Digme, Brecalo spoofy. Who's spoofy? Digo, the music like you listen to. Digme, wait, you have to show me what you're talking about. He takes me to his computer. Look, spoofy. He was talking about Spotify.
Oh, spot.
He was talking about Spotify the entire time. I got mad at him. Digme, yo, bre, what's this put on? Yo, bre, kako on.
Oh my God.
Disaster. Disaster.
Alrighty.
Alright, so yeah.
So I would like you to elaborate more on you being kicked out because I think that's a pivotal part of your life.
It was, yeah. I think everybody has an arc. I think we talked about that on my podcast with Joe Cola once. We talked about like how you don't know you're in an arc till actually you get out of the arc. So I got kicked out for legal reasons from my family's place, and I was completely disconnected from my family for many years. In that time frame from 2019 to I want to say 2022 or three, I went through a lot. I lived in an apartment. I got my first apartment, lived with some friends. Then that place started to go under, so I had to leave. And luckily, I had a really close friend of mine. She got me into an apartment that would be where I became who I am and went through all the metamorphoses that I needed to go through to become who I am now. And I would like to mention that the pandemic had struck, so it was 2019, but March of 2020 was when everything in Massachusetts started to shut down. So like mask laws, social distancing, working from home, school from home, the education from home, it's the whole other story. My own, I found a program called Youth Build North Shore, and it was at that program actually I got my high set. I got my OSHA 10 certification. I got my NCCR certification. I also got my CNA state certified certifications with CPR and dementia health training and so on and so
That's
forth.
insane.
I
Like that's a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. And then I got my high set eventually as well. And the reason I liked construction, my construction was always in my back pocket because I like carpentry. I like the idea and the concept of carpentry. And I think my bread and butter is maintenance, and my bread and butter is just repairs and stuff like that. Mind you, I think like a lot of what I do actually is just the assistant role. But I will say that like, I'm doing this great stuff. I'm going back to I'm going to the CNA field because like I was my mom's healthcare provider for a long time. Not healthcare provider, but caregiver, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to go back to that field. And March of 2020, I think it was around April, the girl I was living with at the time, girl I lived upstairs from, that when I first got kicked out of my family, when I was with her, we had broken up. And that was my first time ever really experiencing a really hard breakup. And it changed the way I saw a lot of things. And it was, I think, it was part of a few of the things that led to me getting to where I am now. But I'll get to that in a second. I go to the youth build program. I'm getting all these accolades. I'm taking college classes. I'm getting these jobs at like becoming a dietary aide at nursing homes and assisted living facilities. I'm doing all this really cool volunteer work with the program that I'm a part of because we're American members, so we did a lot of cool volunteer work. And the pandemic was crappy, but it made it more sentimental to actually meet people and hang out with people. And the roommates I had at the time were really cool people, so like it was a cozy place to live. I bumped into my old roommate, say bumped in, but like we hung out like about a week ago, and we were talking about like how during the pandemic, it was a good place to be during the pandemic. It wasn't just that like the place was like nice, the people were nice. It was just like
Mhm.
it was the right place to be because like it was a cozy place to be when the world felt like it was coming
It
apart.
felt like it was ending.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so like even though I was doing classes from home, even though I was doing youth bowl from home, even though I had a job I could physically go and work, it was like we were home mostly, and the friends that I had at the time, we were able to spend sentimental time together that meant something. You know what I mean? And my boy Mike, who I met through Youth Build, he's still one of my close friends. And because of him, I met the people who would become the parents of my goddaughter and so on and so forth. And it's just incredible. The program did so much for me. So I became a CNA, and I was not gonna lie, I was single for a very long time, but there was people around, and it was nice for the time being. But I dated a girl, we broke up again, and I kind of went through an identity crisis because I was a CNA, I was making great money, but then I started rethinking again who I was, because at that point my family was in and out of my life. And I remember my uncle telling me one of the last times I would see, what I thought was going to be the last time I was going to see him, he looked at me and he told me, he was just like, you can't be a gypsy and a gajo at the same time. You can't be an American and a gypsy at the same time. And in that very moment, I think I cried with my roommate, the one I told you about that I
Yeah.
just hung out with. I cried with him in my apartment, and I was just so shocked. And throughout all of this, I was knee deep in addiction and substance abuse. And then I dated a girl. Then we broke up. Then I eventually would find another woman. And I think between the breakup, me getting clean and sober, and me learning about responsibility, and then me looking at my career, looking at my life, and saying, like, I don't know what to do next. All I have to do is just change what I'm doing.
That's another accomplishment. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Just the you getting sober. Just amazing.
I think it was just getting sober, but getting sober taught me how to be responsible, and that's why
Mhm.
it was easier for me to do the transition because I didn't know what being responsible was. I had the way my brain has been fostered by people was always it was all or nothing, and I do realize how sick and twisted that is. But the truth is, like, for whatever it's worth, as time went on, it was like I was a CNA and I was like partly sober, and the girl I was in at the time was it was not a healthy relationship for either of us, and we get broken up with. And then I'm rethinking, I meet another woman who would become my wife, and I'm madly in love with her, and I finally found out what a
Mhm.
healthy relationship was. And I didn't like being a CNA anymore because I felt like I was going backwards because I went back to caretaking for other people, but I was a caretaker for my mom. And I think it was the fact that it was my mom, the reason why I was caretaking for her, even though I had the skill and I had the ability to do it, you know what I mean? But in the back of my skull, I know I needed to make a change. So I looked at what would become my wife, and I said, I was sitting by the water next to my apartment where I was living, right? And I said, I know what I have to do, and I don't want to do it. And I'm scared to do it, and I don't want to. And she said, you can do it because you've done it a million times. You've had to restart a million times. Because I was rethinking the fact that my uncle gave me that ultimatum about like, you can't be a gypsy or a woman at the same time. But I quite literally all credit to him because he put this devil in me. I told him, fuck you, I'm going to be both. And I became both.
Yeah.
And my cousin also told me that everybody was expecting me to fail and
A
die. And I
hybrid.
said,
You can
yeah,
be both.
yes. And I think my cousin also told me everybody was expecting me to die or fail.
Yeah.
So I had to live. So
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why I got sober. That's part of the reason why I
Mhm.
quit my job. That's part of the reason why I chose a woman. And yes, if you think about everything I just explained, it was all in the pursuit of happiness. But I learned
Yeah.
that happiness is a concept. And
Mhm.
the only way to actually really pursue it is actually asking yourself what makes actually physically you happy. And I realized I wasn't happy. I was happy sometimes being drunk and high and tripping sack and stuff like that. It was great. I was happy running around chasing girls. By all means, it was fun. But I realized that like happiness isn't just a one-time deal. Happiness it needs to be a consistent thing that you
Mhm.
implement every day into your
Yeah.
existence. And it could be little things. Like I'm happy now sitting down and doing podcasts. I'm happy now hanging out with my wife and watching whatever the hell we feel like watching. I'm happy with the friends that I have and there's no strings attached. Like we have to do
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z to be happy.
Nope.
I'm happy sitting in rooms with people where we're doing nothing. That's the thing. I like gardening. I like doing all this other stuff. And like I gotta tell you the truth, if you would have came to me 4 years ago, I would have said, no, I'm gonna be a stoner for the rest of my life and I'm gonna be chasing women for the rest of my life. That's just who I am. And I'm also gonna be a CNA on top of that. But life changed.
But that
So
wasn't who
pro
you were. It was a lot of trauma. It was a
yeah.
lot of
And like
trauma,
I
and you
think
needed to grow up a little.
yeah, and we have a mutual friend named Larry.
Yeah.
And Larry said something to me many years ago. And I still think about it to this day because I do realize the persona that I put on when I was making content
Mm.
on Instagram because I thought Instagram was going to take off, which I probably still should have kept doing that because it did.
Yeah.
But I was making content on Instagram and Larry was just like, look, bro, like I think I trauma dumped on him like for about an hour, which God bless Larry. I don't know how he did it. But I tried out on him for about an hour, and he said something to me that I really think about to this day. He said, "Brian, I've always known you as like the goofy, funny little dude who messes around and like is all crazy and shit like that. I don't expect you to be the one who's actually sad and going through some shit." Granted, he
Yeah.
was right because the persona that
Yeah.
I put on was I'm a crack up,
Yep. Yep. You're
or at
always
least I think I was
laughing.
a
You're
crack
always
up.
joking.
Yeah, or at least I think I'm a crack up. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Shit is what it is. But I will say, like, yeah, that was the persona that I put on, and like that was the thing. I just kept. I think I held on to that for so many years. That like I have to have a persona. I have to do this and third. And people don't understand that
Hmm.
after you go through a traumatic event and you're taken out of the environment that you were actually in, you're put into a whole new environment with complete strangers and doing new things you haven't done before. How your confidence is in a weird influx of like you're not confident enough to
Yep.
do X, Y, and Z, but you're confident in this aspect, and you're trying to figure out who the hell you are on top of that, and make a
Hmm.
new life on top of that.
Yeah.
People don't really understand the actual
Mm-mm.
complexities of that. And we can talk about
Nope.
CBT, we could talk about like trauma informed care, we could talk about all the ins and outs of like psychology and neurology and sociology and so on and so forth. But like if we're being literal, the functionalism that brings up the conflict within our actual culture is on a micro level very hard to deal with, but on a macro level it does give you a weird outlook and a weird experience on the outside of like your life outside of the Womania. So it was
Mm.
hard for me to actually really go and like get integrated into like college, get integrated into programming, get integrated into like different jobs and so on and so forth, and talk to land and
Yeah.
deal with people and
Normal
so on and so
life.
forth. Yeah,
Normal
it's
life.
hard.
It's
It's hard.
hard. It's very hard because it's like Romano life and then normal life is very different. And
Yeah, it is.
your everyday person isn't going to get how drastically different it is.
It is. And also, it's a culture shock for everybody that you deal with because they're very surprised that you don't
Yep.
know. And I
Yes.
could be
The
mad at them for
simple
not
things.
knowing.
It's the simple things that they're like, wait, how do you not know this?
Yes. Look, full transparency, I'm dealing with this right now. I'm trying to get an IEP for college. I don't know how to tell a bunch of I have an amazing college coach. I have an amazing team of like tutors, and I have amazing professors and so on and so forth. I got offered an IEP when I was in youth builds when I was 23. I declined it because the way it was presented to me, it was a weakness. And maybe that was just the result of the men that I grew up with and the people that I grew up with saying that like you
Mm,
don't it's weak to ask for help. But
okay.
looking back, I needed it when I was 23 because I could have helped me so much more. And I was talking to my college coach about this.
Yeah.
It's kind of astonishing that I thugged it out that long
Mm,
until like now I'm 22, 23. I was like 22, 23 when that happened. Now I'm 29.
yeah.
I'm used that so many times.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
But
But
it's how you were
again,
brought up. You was taught not to ask for help.
exactly. And the thing is like I eventually started working at my program and like look, one of the things that we had was like no one to ask for help and together we will succeed. And it's the
Mm,
truth. Like you do succeed when you know when to ask for help. And like one of my bosses that I've had, he said something to me once. He's like, "Look, asking for help is a skill." And I don't think he elaborated that much into like what that meant. But I think from whatever it's worth, what he really meant was just like, look, you have to know when to ask for help. You have to also know when to say, I'm not
yeah.
going to ask for help.
Yeah, I could do it myself versus when like I need help.
Yes,
Like I really need help.
yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about that way, but it's true. And like in the back of my skull, I was fortunate enough that like I will say like, look, I can't totally blame it on my family. Like, look, sometimes they did help me with things I needed, but like I felt like there was a price with it. When I was out on my own, I thank God every day that I had the people that I had. I had Cedric, I had Julie, I had Shanika, I had Justine, I had, you know what I mean? I had Walker, I had Kaylee, I had all these people, I had Rachel and all these different miscellaneous characters,
Mm,
CJ, Matt, Kevin, I had Doug, I had all these different individuals I could list off that all helped me in some capacity get to where I'm at today. But then you have to deal with the fact like, no, you did it yourself. No one put a gun to your head and said, do the right thing. You had to make the choice that you did the right thing.
mm.
Because again, like I could have kept doing drugs. I could have just kept being the dude
Yeah.
who was like just running around the city, just
Yeah,
trying to
you could have
have
kept being
fun.
that wild dude. You could
Yes,
have
I
kept
could
being
have.
that dude, but it would have led you down a really different path.
Yeah.
Instead,
And
you chose to clean up at an age that like most dudes wouldn't.
yeah, exactly. Because I was just, again, like when I got the job at Youth Build, that's when it really sunk in. It was just like, look,
Mm,
I am a teacher. I didn't have my job title wasn't teacher. It was program coordinator or instructor. But my same job description was that of a teacher, and I had to take that seriously. And like, look, I took that as a sign. Like, look, when I started getting clean, when I started learning what responsibility was, when I started like considering who was for me and who wasn't for me, when I started making hard decisions, when I started actually choosing what I needed to choose, life did get significantly better, and I was significantly happier and I was
yeah.
happier with absolutely less, not just lying to myself that this would make me happy.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it would make me happy to chase things that aren't good for me deep down inside that I know, but it'll make me happy in that one moment. And like my roommate Matt, I don't know why I'm talking about him so much right now. He's the handsomest man I ever met in my life, by the way. But he's literally the whole thing. Roommate Matt, let me tell you,
Oh, okay.
best mustache I've ever seen. Best mustache, best glasses, best hair, best outfits, best career, incredible musician. My God, I have a little. I cut the
Yeah,
tension
just
with
a
a knife.
little, just a little crush. Just
Yes, yeah,
little.
just
All
a
right,
little
all right,
crush. Just well, I'm
all
just.
right, all right.
I want to cut the tension a
Okay,
little bit with the knife, right?
okay.
Because he said something really important, right? But this is the life that I had with him when we were living together. Every night he would practice guitar, and I would purposely sit there reading or watching TV on low or just thinking or just living my life. And it made my life a little bit better just to hear him play guitar all night and just hear him practicing singing and stuff like that because it actually like brought peace to my life because it reminded me of growing up in my family's house. Because that's what my
Okay.
family did. Because like hearing guitar playing all day, like that, I got used to that. So hearing that in my actual like apartment with my roommates, any other roommate would have been like, "No, forget this guy. This is annoying."
Hmm.
It was him doing it that made me actually happy about it. So yes, I owe him a great deal of debt for that because he made the house a little bit more comfortable. So he said something to me once, and he asked me this question. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, is this going to give me a long-term benefit or is this going to be like in this moment benefit? And that's a hard decision to make on a daily to weekly to monthly to yearly basis because
Yeah.
you have to say to yourself, like, will I be satisfied in this very moment or will I be satisfied for the rest of my life?
Yeah, long
And
term.
you could apply that logic to absolutely anything. Now, we always talk about trauma responses to things, right? Because, like, yeah, the addiction probably was a trauma response. The mood disorder that I had, obviously having bipolar one, like, it played a big factor in that. But the thing is, like, you don't want to think about the later, you want to think about the now. But the truth is, like, every decision that I made in those moments when I started working at Youth Build and when I met my wife and I was living the life that I'm living now, I thought about not only just like the pursuit of happiness, but I thought about like the pursuit of trying and the pursuit of giving it a shot and so on and so forth. And like,
Motivation.
yes, it did. Like the pursuit of
Mhm.
happiness actually motivated me and so on and so forth. And then people will say like, you're not going to be happy doing it the way you're doing it. And I'm happy. Like, look, what people find, sometimes you have to realize when you're a woman, maybe if you're like me, maybe I used to hear kids like Gage, the people that are outside of my culture say like, I hate going to school, but I was low key sad that I didn't actually get to experience that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I used to get angry at people when they were saying like I hate
Yep,
my
because they
job.
would say, yeah.
I used to get
Yep.
angry at people when they say like I hate my job. I'm just like
Hmm.
I would kill to have a job.
Yep. To have a
I would kill
normal,
to
just
have your
normal
job.
things. Yep.
I would kill to have your job.
Yep. I
I
would kill to
don't.
work at McDonald's. Like I like
Yes,
anywhere. Like I don't
yes, or better yet, and
care.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry to say this, but like, look, it's not just the home and thing; it's a Gajenganes thing too. I don't understand how these people, when they've won in life, they have a woman that adores them, or they have a man that adores them, that will do anything for them, and then they say, "I like, okay, you're lying in bed." You're eating breakfast. Your favorite TV show is on. It's a Saturday morning. No one has to do anything today. You could just sit in bed and do nothing today. People don't understand how fucking crazy it is when
Mhm.
you look at your wife, you look around the beautiful house that you're building, you go, wow, this is awesome. I'm gonna cheat on my wife.
Yeah,
I don't get
that's
that.
yeah.
I don't get that.
Because people
Granted,
have nothing better to do with their lives,
yes.
essentially. It's
And like,
like
look,
rich
that's
people. Like when people get too rich, right? They
yeah,
just go to more like worse things. It gets more and
yes,
more debaucherous as it
yes,
goes on because they have so much money that they don't know where else to put it.
yes. It's very true. And also, I mean, it's just that this can go backwards really quickly. I'm just gonna throw this out there right now. This can go backwards really quickly. You have to know when to be satisfied. And sadly, you kind of need that, for lack of a better term, dogging you to say, I'm not satisfied right now. I have to keep going. But at the same time, you have to know when you've won. So it's like I had to have that mentality of like, I gotta try different things for the sake of trying to pursue whatever it is I'm pursuing. But also I had to know and realize I've won. Like, look, do I
Yeah.
look, I talked about how much I hype up work and school. Like, look, do I like going to work every day? Absolutely not. No one does. Do I like going to, like I said, work or school every day? No, of course not. That there's going to be days where I can't do it. There were days where I couldn't do it and I had to stay home. Full transparency because of manic depressive episodes and other crap going on in my life, right?
Yeah, you
But
needed a
like
day.
exactly. And
It's
like
no
look
big deal.
and like look, at the end of the day, like there is most moments that come up, right? But then I have those like somewhere out there moments like from Hunchback of Notre Dame where like I would love to be with the Millers and the Weavers and their wives. And like I think about that because like I prayed for just 0.1%. Now I have like at least 99% of it.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I say 99% is because again, like there's always that little hunger in me to say like I'm hungry enough to try more. But I
Yeah.
will say this again, you've won and when you've been satisfied and like you have what you need. You don't have and like look,
But motivation, having motivation, dude,
yes.
is
And
is is amazing because you grew up in a culture again that didn't teach you motivation. They kind of just told you, "Hey, do this," and you've turned into a motivation machine. Like
Well, I
you
mean,
keep
again,
doing and keep like you keep setting a bar and then you kind of you get higher. You keep going and going, right?
and
Like
that's the
you just told
yes,
me about the dean's list.
that's true too. Yes, actually,
I
that's
didn't
right.
even know what that was. Full transparency. I
No, it's all
Googled
right.
it.
No, it's all right.
I Googled it.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Yeah.
But it's awesome.
It is.
Like
It is. Yeah.
amazing. Like college. Like awesome.
I made it twice.
Oh, oh, okay.
As of last weekend, I actually did it twice.
See, that's beautiful.
2 different semesters actually did it twice.
That
So
is beautiful.
I guess it's a good platform to say it, but I don't think I would have gotten anywhere if I didn't have amazing friends, if I
Mm.
didn't have amazing family, if I didn't have a support system within the college, if I didn't have a support system outside of college and people who are motivating me. Because eventually me and my family did make an amends to each other. I do see my family, and I will say that I finally, what I always wanted was to be both. I wanted to be who I was, and I also wanted to be a home at the same time because people think that there's this naivety that I don't agree with or I completely hate my culture. I don't. I never did. Did I hate the fact that as a result of all the terrible things that happened to my culture and all of the terrible things that make up my culture were a result of the actual functionalism of that culture and the individual and the intersectionality of what society has done to them? Absolutely. But I will say this, I still represent my culture. There's a Romani flag hanging in my outside of my house
You
because
have
I
a
believe
tattoo,
in
don't you too?
I have yeah, no, actually
Yeah.
I have my gypsy woman
Yeah.
tattoo. You know what I mean? And she's looking at me and I'm looking at her because at the end of the day, like when I look at her and she looks at me, that's my future. And she's also looking at me because I am the future. That's the
That's
thing. Look,
beautiful.
but that's the thing. I'm a representative. I'm an ambassador. I am doing what
Yeah,
I'm
you're an
doing.
advocate. You're an
I
advocate.
and I
You
will
want to
say
be
this,
both, and then you can be
yes,
both.
yes, you can.
And
Look, therapist said it best. I told my like, look, you get it twisted all the time. Like, I don't know if I could do this because I have bipolar disorder. It's like, look, you could do it and have anything and do it at the same time. Look, the person who's in charge of the educational system for mental health training, mental health education, right? He has schizoaffective disorder in Massachusetts.
oh,
He's incredible. I haven't met him, but I've heard
huh.
tales about him. That's how powerful he is. I hate to use the word powerful. That's how much pull he has, I guess. You know what I mean? How am I? So this is why I'm in college to become a counselor. But if there's one thing I wanted to leave out when I was working at youth builds, it taught me something. And like, look, I will say, like, I thank God that I had anime, I had My Hero Academia because it taught me that, like, look, to be a symbol.
You had God
I had
too.
God, yes. I mean, I had God. I was gonna get to that. I was gonna get to that, right? I had God, obviously, yes. But God really made a way for me to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
God made a way, even when I denied he was there. Even I don't think I was ever atheist, full transparency. I think people assumed I was atheist or I didn't believe, and because I'm Romani, they think I believe in some sort of other thing. Whatever, that's entirely up to them to look at the cartoon version of a worm, but that's fine. But I believed in God the entire time. I will say God put me in situations where I had to realize I needed to be a symbol. And maybe that's putting way too much pressure on myself. Maybe that's me just thinking too highly of myself and so on and so forth. But it's true. There's younger people in my life that I don't know if they're fully or are realizing that they're counting on me, but I hear the words, I hear the whispers. I know,
They're looking for a role model. They don't know it yet, but they are.
yes,
They
and it's an
are.
honor and it's a privilege. It's
Mhm.
an honor, it's a privilege that when you get a phone call saying, I need your help. It's an honor and a
Yeah.
privilege when people think of you when they need help. It's an honor and a privilege when people think of you when they need to move on or get better or do something
Yeah.
incredible. And the truth is, yeah, there's pressure, I'm not gonna lie, but also it gets me out of bed in the morning. That's my pursuit of happiness.
Hmm.
That's what's getting me out of the bed in the morning because it wasn't just me that started the whole trend. It was my mother. It was my grandfather. And I hate to say it, look, sometimes if you're aware enough to get to this point, you look at all your heroes and all of your mentors that I've had, and I could see where they made mistakes. You could say, okay, I know what to do if I make that mistake, but also you could be reliant enough on yourself to say, if I make a mistake, at least somebody else could learn from this.
Yeah.
Because yes, I've made plenty of mistakes. I've let things get the best of me plenty of times, and yet the spirit still lives on. And I will say, I will tell you, going to school to become a counselor, I'm hell bent on it because I don't want to do anything else. I have the podcast, yes, and there I could artistically express myself. I have a beautiful wife. I want to have a family that we're going to have a family with. I have friends. I have so many things to look forward to. I'm a part of a bunch of different things that I can list off right now. But the thing is, like, none of it means anything unless I'm not giving back or doing the human service work because I think God did put me on this earth to do that,
Yeah.
to do human service work. Now, where does a podcast go for all that? I don't know where they're at, but I know they exist. And the very small amount of viewership that we get and the very small amount of subscribers we get, there's a lot of people counting on our episodes to actually kind of be that safe place and that example of like what it means to be both.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to be. I want to be both.
Sometimes just allowing people to talk is like the word you said, super powerful. just
Yes.
giving them that space to just freely be themselves. Like the you did it for me. I came on your podcast. I went on your podcast and you did it for me. Another lady, Shilly Sansola, did it for me. It's just about giving people the space and freedom. And I think it's powerful to each individual person in a different
It
way.
is. It is. And like, look, we're the podcast that was a lucha mask. And I know that makes no sense to a lot of people, but I'll say it here. I'll say it here. But like what I mean is like, look, you have the personas of lucha mask that makes it like you're a wrestler, you're whatever this character is. It's on the outside, right? But on the inside, behind that mask, there's a lot more characters, a lot more of that.
Yeah.
And look, I got to the truth. The format of our podcast, like, yeah, we have wrestling, we talk about wrestling, we do all that stuff, but I just care about the people being able to talk.
You do more.
And
You do more than that. It's not just about the wrestling. You
exactly,
do
yeah,
more
like
and you
no,
bring
wrestling's
awareness to
there.
people. And yeah, wrestling is there. Wrestling is
Yeah,
definitely there.
yeah, because I
But
love wrestling.
yeah, you guys love wrestling and that's amazing. But you guys also seem to love people and the culture and just sharing things, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, pro wrestling's a universal topic. And also, I gotta tell you the truth. I don't want to do a podcast where all do is talk about wrestling. I don't want to do a talk show podcast either, full transparency. I just want people to come on and just talk. I don't,
Yeah.
and like, look, it's very easy to get caught up in this world of podcasting, and hosting, and
Mhm.
interviewing and stuff like that, and just talk about what the person does and their experience and what they've done. But you start to hear the robotic side of it, and they're just like, yeah, well, I clock in at 8 o'clock, I clock out at 4 o'clock, I train this person, I've done this training, this is where I've gone at this point, so on and so forth. Like, it gets tiring hearing that all the
It's
time. I
repetitive.
just, yes, and I hate to say it, but like, I'd rather have interesting people come on and just be like, hey, when's the last time you had a good sandwich? When's the last time you had like a bomb sandwich? What's a good sandwich spot where you're at? We haven't done that yet, but I want to. So I have to figure out who that's gonna be actually. That's a good point. I have to think about that later. Yeah.
Find out where the best sandwich is in Salem.
No, I mean, no. Oh, here in
Yeah.
Salem, it's the Babe.
The Babe.
The Babe, yeah. The best sandwich place. The best sandwich place is the Babe here in Salem, Massachusetts. It's located on Washington Street. I
Okay.
encourage everybody to go there. The best place outside of that. Damn, that's a good question. Damn, it's hard. It's usually just for me. It's just the Babe. I don't know.
Just the,
BAB.
I can't tell you where like the best sandwich places here because I feel like there are not that many.
Period. Really?
I feel like Houston has they try to have really good food,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work out.
وقال لا شيخ به.
Okay, so we have Nico's, which is a Mediterranean place, They have the only thing I could think of right now is they have honey balls. They're like deep fried little do you know what buffet are?
Yeah, I know buffet is.
But you know the ones that we put like the powdered sugar on?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like little deep fried little balls like that with powdered sugar and honey.
No
They're
shit.
really good. Yeah.
No.
And then they have a really good lemon chicken soup.
That's not bad.
So we got
That's fair.
that. We
Okay,
got
but
that.
wait, like I'm sorry, but maybe I'm just assuming because I never stepped foot in the South. Isn't Houston known for barbecue and stuff like
Well,
that?
yeah, we have good we have good barbecue. But
All right,
like
yeah.
okay, like all right, you go to New York, you go to California,
Mhm.
you could find good Chinese food,
No matter where you
good
go, yeah,
Mediterranean food,
it's
good pizza,
absolutely
anywhere.
yeah. Anywhere, yeah.
Houston, it's like, yeah, we have good barbecue. Kind of period.
It's one note. It's just one note. Yeah.
Kind of like, yeah, we have amazing, not just good. Yeah, we have amazing barbecue.
Are you serious?
You could go to like the little trucks on the side of the road that have barbecue and be like, oh my God, okay, how does this dude out of his truck make barbecue so good?
Yeah, yeah.
But they just do it.
I mean, also, I mean, if you're from New England, you're pretty much under the impression that there's no such thing as bad seafood, but there is. There is. I'm not trying to terminate anybody's business. I'm not gonna say what the best places are either, because because you can get into a whole argument about the best seafood in the state of Massachusetts, and that's an argument for another day. When obviously it is the catch of the day. The catch of the day.
Sushi must be insane.
Okay, I kind of gatekeep this, but I'm also a townie, so I can't lie about that. What I'm
Okay.
going to say, the best sushi in Massachusetts is Koto.
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 Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's the best.
Okay.
I'm from here though, and I like that place. I have sentimental value to that place, but they have the best
Okay.
sushi in town. Now, here's the thing. I actually try eating different sushi in different places. I don't know if it's just because I'm used to that place, but I know there's probably good stuff out there, but I don't want to believe it. Maybe I'm just gatekeeping the hell out of it. I don't know, but still.
You're just no, I feel you because like here when we first moved here, I tried to find like a really good sushi place, and the best place I came up with is there's this place called Raw. It's called Raw Sushi, and
Solid
They
name.
have pretty decent sushi.
Genius name.
So,
Brilliant name.
but like people always used to ask me like, because I was like the one that was into like Asian culture and stuff, right?
Of
What's the
course,
good
yeah.
sushi place? And I would be like, I don't know. They don't have it here.
Okay, but like that's what I'm saying. Like if you're from Massachusetts and you say you don't like seafood, people are gonna be like, what the hell are you why the hell are you living here? But it's normal. People don't understand, like you're gonna have a palate, and it's like I don't care where you're from. It's like if you like this thing that people tend to forget about. Boston's called Beantown, not P B Town, Beantown.
Beantown.
Yeah, not B Town, Bean Town, right? People tend to forget about that. For a long time, we're very well known for Boston baked beans.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, but not every New Englander, when you say, where's the best place to get beans around here? No one's going to have an answer. And ironically, they'll probably tell you a Mexican
Do you know?
restaurant. They'll probably recommend a Mexican restaurant. Just saying.
But like what kind of like Mexican beans or like
Yeah, like Mexican, like refried and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
in New England?
Oh my God, New England is like a master class of like mixed
Okay.
not mixed infusion restaurants.
Never been to that part of the world. I think we've like we drove past it as a child because like travel and stuff,
Yeah,
but I don't think we ever like stood.
I've never made it outside this coast.
No?
I never made it outside this coast. I've been to New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Sorry,
Okay.
yeah, Pennsylvania. I've been to Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, obviously. I think that's it. I never made it outside of this. I went to Washington once, I think. No, I'm lying to you. No, I never been to Washington. Never mind.
Well, you and Courtney should come to Houston and I'll make you guys some
I would
like
love to.
guamano like food or something.
I would love to. Yeah, I still have to visit my
I
godbrother
think
out in Oregon, actually.
Borania was your favorite, right?
Hamade Botania?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Hamade Botania is actually my
Yeah.
favorite. I would
I
say that, yeah.
because of you, I started making it for Tyler because you reminded me of it, right?
That's good.
Because I was like,
It's a classic.
I'm just gonna start making gypsy food because he wasn't open to it for a while. And then afterwards he was like, you know what? Just do what you want. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna make all the gypsy food now. So I
If
started making borania almost every week and he loves it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a classic. You can't beat it. It's classic. It's so simple and it's
It's
beautiful.
good.
I can't deny it.
It's a real good food.
Halma de Botania is a classic. I would say that like look, people it's weird how in the culture people have like a holy war about what's a Homino classic and everybody's default will say Sadama. But
Yes.
Godot, some people even like lean towards if it's not gonna be Sadame, it's gonna be Piogo. Now,
Okay.
Piogo, I will make the argument, yes, it's our best dessert. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about functionality, like anybody could eat this. Anybody could eat ham de Botania.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arguably the most versatile dish.
I think so. I think so. I'm throwing myself a birthday party actually next week.
Oh, really? Okay, really?
Yeah. And I was
Wow.
thinking about making that for my birthday party to just
That's
have
wild.
people taste a gypsy food, just to have like some normal people just taste the food, right?
You know, last Christmas actually, I bought all the fixings to make Pidiogo, and I actually was gonna make it for my church, but then I got tired and lazy and I didn't do it.
Why didn't you should have did it?
I got distracted. Christmas
With
week was
what?
really hard.
Uh-huh.
Christmas week was really hard.
Well, you got distracted. Uh-huh.
Yes, I got distracted. I got hard. It got hard. I couldn't put it together. I kept thinking about like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and then I just talked myself out of it.
Well, do it this year.
Yes. Also, I know we only have like 2 minutes left. Actually, just want to give you a heads up. Just want to give you a quick like thing real quick. You know, I
Mhm.
went to a grocery store once and I asked one of the women at the grocery store, just this girl who couldn't have been like barely 18, 19. I just asked her, how do you make briogo? I thought everybody knew how to make briogo. That shows you how disconnected I was from society.
Manavas, you didn't know
Yes, I
anything.
didn't know. I
You
didn't
didn't
know.
know anything.
I looked this woman deep in her blue, shining eyes with her big, nice blonde hair. And I said, how do you make briogo? And she's like, what's briogo?
Yeah. What
No,
is
I'm
that?
sorry.
What is
No,
that
I'm sorry.
noodle
No,
dessert?
yeah, no. I said like, no. I grabbed the egg noodle. I was like, is this good for Piogo? And she's just like, what's Piogo?
One of my friends calls it pirongo.
Priongo.
Well, and I'm
I've
like,
heard that
what?
before.
I'm like,
Priogo.
why are you saying it like that? It's
You know
piro.
what? The only way I could actually know how to say Priogo correctly is actually by using the first couple of words of like one of the curse words. You know what I'm talking about? Could I say it?
Dude,
Prigaza.
that's not a
Pri.
curse word.
No, pri and prigo. No, that pri in the beginning of it, pri is the same word for Prigaza. So you say pri, Priogo, Prigaza.
But
That's how I remembered it.
picaza is just like,
Unlucky.
yeah, so it's not really a bad word. I thought you was gonna say a real bad word.
No, 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 no. No, no,
No,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no.
Okay.
No. We got 1 minute
Alrighty.
left.
Well, we're going to have to record some more another time. Thank you
Yes.
for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I
This
appreciate it.
was awesome. and I can't wait to do it again.
Me too. I would like that as well. Thank you. I want to say you're doing a great job. I appreciate you having me. I look forward to seeing more episodes in the future. If you guys want to follow me on social media,